It's the Revved Up Sports Show. Here's Bobby Chaffee and Rodney Rodriguez.
Well, hello, everybody. Don't forget to turn your clocks up one more hour.
Hell, if you ain't done it yet, you're in trouble.
That's right. It's not 5:30. It is 6:30 Monday night, your local hangout time for everything racing related in the great state of Texas and beyond. Showtime, Bobby Chaffee right here. The Iceman, Rodney Rodriguez. That's that man right there.
Monday happy hour and a half right here. I kind of like
right.
that new thing that I kind of thought of yesterday. I was sitting there having a beer or two and trying to get this show all put together, and I thought, hey, happy hour and a half. How about that? I mean, that's a pretty good thing.
It is.
Somebody going to take that and run with it, and we'll miss out once again.
Yeah, no royalties on that, I guess.
I'll tell you. This is going to be a fun show. We're coming off of, and yes, hopefully, today's been a bitch. I mean, yesterday wasn't so bad, I think, because, I did something that my wife does on Saturday night. So the girls, everybody back home, and everybody goes to bed. They're tired, whatever. And so I sat and I watched the end of the Pensacola race, and was watching Houston as well. And then somehow I'm getting out of all the apps and everything, and the YouTube thing, it's like, hey, watch this, and it was a Dale Jr. download, a part of a Dale Jr. download.
Oh,
and so I
know how you like those.
Oh my God, no, but I sit there and I start watching that, and then there's like a 3-part episode with Jimmy Spencer. Next thing I know, it's approaching 2 a.m. when the clock moves up, and yeah, so it was a very late Saturday night for me into Sunday morning, being at home, and hell, it wasn't bad. I was, but Sunday made for hell because I had to get up and go do a ride, and yeah, daylight saving times. I don't know which one I like better. We were talking about that before. I mean, the morning, being still, pitch bright outside. I mean, that's one thing. In the morning when it's dark. I mean, I don't know which one of those I really like better.
I don't know. Let us know in the comments what you think in terms of you like the daylight. You like it brighter in the morning or brighter at night. I don't think that it makes for a really long morning when you see the sun come up in the summertime at the racetrack. Yeah. Knowing that the sun comes up about 7:30 instead of 6:30, but it took a little bit of time to get adjusted this morning. That's for sure. The
jacked up part is like even yesterday. So you look up, and I had no idea because by the time I get back home, I look up and it's like boom, the NASCAR is on, and I'm like, well, shit. It's 2:30 already, and even this morning, it's like boom. I mean, everything. It just takes a while, and I actually saw something today where they were talking about where this is, and it's funny how the world has changed because they were talking about how changing the time 2 times a year, which I think we just need to leave it alone. Pick one or the other, just leave it alone. But they were saying now that it increases in strokes, heart attacks, if you have hypertension, which I have, if you have anxiety or depression, this is not good for you. This is not good for you, which I guess I can understand.
The change, yeah, well, that's because hypertension doesn't like change.
And I'm always worried about, it's like, this weekend going to the Rattler. I mean, I can only imagine because I'm leaving on Friday, so I can only imagine, I'm assuming Thursday I ain't going to sleep for shit because I'm going to be like, I'm going to keep waking up. I mean, it's one of those things to where time for me is, I don't know, it seems like I never have enough time to do anything. So I guess I totally get that. But anyway, on the show tonight, Trevor Sandburn coming up here in just a little bit, and he is embarking into a new yet older thing that he's doing. We'll talk with him, and then coming up a little bit later on, 7:10, we'll talk to Michael Bowles, who was a Lone Star Stock Car Tour factory stock champion, and then Owen Pittman checks in, and a lot of people are like, oh, great, we get the Houston update. Well, he's got some important stuff about more important stuff. South Texas Race Ranch. We'll talk about that as well too. So, Bobby, I posted on the blog today. It was a very short blog at RevvedUpSportsShow.com, and I was talking about fans being fanatics. I mean, the definition of fan is fanatic. Blah blah blah. Whatever.
Yeah.
What I saw happen in Florida this week. I mean, and I'm not talking about Pensacola. I am not talking about Pensacola. Did you see the story from where is it? I have it written down here somewhere. Southern Raceway, Gary Winger arrested after an on-track incident. It was his son and another driver, and at some point, Mr. Winger there goes in and takes a ball-peen hammer to someone in the opposing team's trailer after breaking in there.
What the hell? No, I had not seen that.
I'll find it.
The one video where the guy was just running, and then just tackles the other guy.
Yeah,
I saw that video pop up too. I don't remember where that was from. But there was some crazy stuff at Southern Raceway. There was a couple of flips and fights and stuff I saw with Flow Racing.
Yeah, it's a little crazy. It's a little crazy. Man, I swear I had it somewhere. My goodness, I don't know where I put these things. But yeah, it was on track incident, and this thing, gets totally out of hand to where, it gets off the racetrack and boom, here we are. And, I totally get it. I totally get it. We all get in the heat of the moment, and the whole thing is, guys and ladies, we got to be a little better to ourselves right here, because this is what puts us in the bad spotlight that we want to try to get away from. I mean, we want to try to make our sport, legit and this, that, and the other. But I just can't help but think that it seems like in situations like this, we just seem to find ways to keep stepping on it, as we play that soundbite on here all the time. And that right there, and arrested. I mean, the dude was arrested. I mean,
he should be.
Put him in the clink. I mean, his ass is in the clink, and that's what happens there. And just be better. Come on, guys, be better than that.
Yeah, that's the hammer's uncalled for. There's no need for that. I mean, if you got issues, especially if the other crew's locked away, they're probably trying to get out of Dodge, knowing that something's going to happen.
Right.
So they get out of Dodge, and then it's like, boom, here comes this crazy SOB trying to knock into the pits and knock down your door and stuff. That's pretty crazy. That no time frame for that. So.
I do want to play this for our friends that do not watch NASCAR but yet complain about NASCAR all the time. I don't know how many people caught this yesterday as we were getting ready to go to the stage 3 of the NASCAR race. My man Mike Joy, there's a lot of folks that I look up to and with their broadcast style and everything that they do. Well, actually, it's not a lot. It's a short list of folks that I listen to what they do, and kind of try to gather in and do what I do better. But I don't know who all caught this yesterday, but this was at the working towards the end of the second stage yesterday in the NASCAR race. Mike Joy calling out some of our favorite people in racing. It's loading. Hold on, internet. It's what we do. I didn't have it queued up. It's coming up.
Live.
Just stand by. It's coming up. Here we go. Oh, hold on. I'm going to have to go back.
Green flag, full screen.
One more time. Here we go.
Now, for all the keyboard warriors, I'm going to do this in words of one syllable. The last green flag, full screen break of this race comes right now.
Mike Joy. Calling
now,
out the keyboard
warriors,
word.
I'm going to do this in words of one syllable. The last green flag, full screen break of this race comes right now.
Fox has been getting a lot of shit for the commercials, but I don't feel like there have been any more or less commercials than any other season.
There was a proven stat that I saw today that there aren't. And the whole thing is, I think where all the bitching and moaning is coming from is what they're doing is they're front loading this. I mean, I think they're trying to do most of it. I don't know why anyone is surprised when a Fox race, even NBC, when a race starts, you're going to get the first 7 or 8 laps, you're going to get them. And then they start doing commercials. And here's the deal. Everybody. You know what commercials are? It's people paying millions of dollars to support that sport. I can guarantee you one thing. I bet you we could call Race on Texas, Flow, Racing America, all of them. I bet you we could call all of these streamers, and they would die to have this problem.
Yeah,
because they're paying for that shit.
Yeah. There's a reason why they're called TV rights packages, because somebody pays to have the rights to broadcast your television signal, your television product. That's why it's weird. The way we do it in the U.S. and North America is completely different how they do it everywhere else. You're right. Soccer games go kick to kick, no commercials. Don't know how in the hell they do it with the big money they got over there. Formula One goes flat, light to checkered. All the way through, no commercials. Have no idea how they managed to make that work with the big bucks that Formula One charges for their rights. You come over here to the States, soccer, they have built in. Now, when you get the English Premier League stuff, when it comes over this way, yeah, there's no breaks, and ESPN and NBC and all those guys will run it without breaks. And same thing with Formula One over here. How they do that, I don't know. But the regular North American stuff is designed to have commercials in it. IndyCar, NASCAR. When you watch a V8 supercar race from Australia, How Fox Sports manages to go nonstop with every single thing without a break over there, including the preliminary series down there. I have no idea how they do that either. But in North America, it's not pay-per-view. It is definitely, you're going to have commercials with it, and it's just part of it. Commercials have always been there.
It's like when you watch your favorite, sitcom or whatever the hell, you know that there's going to be breaks in there for commercials. I mean, it has to come.
But nobody watches that shit live.
I know.
It's all DVR now.
And that's the whole thing. I mean, I suggest, the first part of the race, you don't like it anyway. Delay the thing. And here's the whole thing.
Delay it. What are they talking about? A Moody? Delay it an hour and then just catch back up by the end of the race and you'll be just fine.
Here's the whole thing. You're going to watch it anyway, and you're watching it because you're bitching about the commercials, and you're just sitting there doing it. And, it is what it is. I can tell you, it's just a byproduct of the whole thing. This is nothing new. This is nothing new, but yet still people find a way that they're not going to be happy with whatever's going on. And, bitch and complain. Bitch about the car. I had so many people messaging me yesterday. This new package is horrible.
Same results, new package.
It was supposed to fix everything. Whatever. Look, guys, it was untested. Whatever. I'm going to sit here and tell you, I watched a lot of... 5. I watched 5 short track racing shows this weekend. And there were times in those that were just as fucking bad as what I saw yesterday in the NASCAR race. So don't bullshit me. This is not a NASCAR thing. This is a new racing. And that's where, I've talked about it before to where people are like, well, short track is still genuine. Well, I guess you're not watching the same short track shit that I grew up at, because it is a hell of a lot different now, just like NASCAR. And they're still talking about the overtime thing. No,
why?
You didn't like
people bitch when it ended under caution. Now they're bitching that it runs too long.
One time it ended under caution, 1998 in the Daytona 5000, as I like to call it, and everybody loved that one. But that's the only time that I can think of that people liked it. Yeah, I'd love for them to race back to the line. Maybe let them do that, but you can't do that either.
Remember the outcry a couple of years ago when the Indianapolis 500 finished under caution?
I know.
It was an enormous outcry. People pitched and moaned about that for 3 or 4 days, 3 or 4 weeks. And it's like, well, why don't we go to overtime? Well, we don't want to ruin the tradition of the Indianapolis 500.
I know. It's we'll get back to that. Because that's something it just rubs me the wrong way, as many things do. But whatever. Going to the Lone Star Speed Zone hotline for the first time this evening, and we are going up north to a man that is coming down south yet again. Another great favorite of our little racing program. It is Mr. Trevor Sandburn. How we doing, sir?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Doing well, man. How are things for you, my friend?
Things have been very well.
Good.
We've driving for a new team. The owner I've known for some time and drove for previously, but we're all geared up. We're actually on the way to North Carolina right now.
Yeah, that is awesome, man. It is time to go to Hickory. That's one of those racetracks right there. So let's talk about that. Back with Richard Moody Racing. That right there, it's funny. The longer that we do this, everything goes full circle, and you come back. Talk about that relationship and coming back home for you.
Well, I started racing, the touring series up here called the Pastor.
Yep.
Years and years ago with Richard Moody. And some different things happened, and we split our ways. We never had any differences, just we did some different things. And last fall, I got back a hold of Rick, and he wanted to do something, and we agreed on some stuff, and we're going to go racing. I'm really, really excited to get down here to Hickory. We came here about 5 weeks ago and tested, and the car was phenomenal.
Love it.
Trevor, how long is that ride for y'all? I've got to imagine it's not short from up north.
No, it's probably, it's 14 hours in a car, probably 16 in the trailer truck. I'm in the trailer truck right now riding down because we wanted to beat the snow. If we left tomorrow, I don't know, it would have been really, really slow going. Right now we're almost in New York City, and it's just raining here.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a good thing. So let's talk about the Pass Tour. I mean, and this is a Pass Tour, ACT kind of combined event right there. But the Pass Tour, that's one of those. Obviously, down here we've got with ASA and Southern Super Series, now SRL, all of that. But talk about that. I mean, that's just one of those great series that continues to do just really amazing things.
Yeah, the Pass Tour is. Honestly, it's the only thing I've ever done. That's basically what's up north here. The ACT Tour, I've actually never even stepped foot in an ACT car. I've watched a ton of races because they're right here local, but I've never actually been in one, which there isn't much difference, just 8-inch tire, different shocks and transmission. Other than that, they're the same car. But the Pass Tour is a lot of fun. We always enjoy going to Hickory in the spring because we're bottled up here all winter with nothing to do but work on race cars and snowmobile and freeze to death. But we're pretty excited when Tom Mayberry puts Hickory on the schedule every spring for us to come run.
Absolutely.
Yeah, how does it change for you guys? I mean, when you think about it in terms of coming down, is there any changes that you guys have to make car-wise? I mean, other than just changing it from track to track, but I mean, do you end up having to change the setup a lot compared to up north, or is it you just set it up for an old worn-out racetrack?
Yeah, not really. I mean, you don't have to change a ton. There's some different bump stop packages and spring packages, and a little bit of different shock because the track's real rough. But there's rough tracks in Maine, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, everywhere. I mean, it's all around. We got a good notebook, and I have a good notebook. These guys got a good notebook. We combined it, and I think we'll be just fine down here at Hickory.
I agree. So Trevor, I know we've talked about this in the past, but now at this point, 2023, March 13th. So when we talk about super late model racing right now, I mean, you've got, it really seems like you've got everything in the South. I mean, you guys up north. I mean, with Joey Pole and Rowe, and I mean, all of you guys that are so great up there. Folks over on the left coast, with Derek Thorne and all of that. It just seems like there are opportunities in place to where we really have full circle, just a badass super late model program across the country. It really seems like finally starting to come together.
Yeah, super late model stuff, even pro late model, all of it has evolved a lot in the last 10 years. In the last 3 or 4 years, it's really gotten big. And, we're excited. We got 2 Fury cars, brand new Fury cars. We are possibly going to run some shows with our super late model. At the moment, we're going to go to Hickory, go back to Maine. Well, I say back to Maine, then to Thompson to race, and then Loudon.
Yeah.
And then we'll go from there.
No doubt.
How do you adjust your driving style going from an old school racetrack like Hickory all the way up to the big old flat mile up there in Loudon? I mean, is that easier said than done? I mean, tell me. I mean, when I try to do something that simple on a video game, I crash the wall. So
Loudon's easier to drive than Hickory.
I bet.
It's a lot of speed, but it's easier to drive. Hickory's got some character to it. The bumps are rough. The cars are, up and down, sideways. It's just, that's the type of fun. I don't know. I just love that type of racing.
Yeah. No, that's good stuff right there. That's very good stuff. So I do want to go back to the Moody thing right there. So I mean, seriously for you, I mean, this is. I mean, it really is the going home part that I was talking about. That really has to excite you. I mean, is that something we talk about pep in the step and all of that? Is this something that even though you've done it before, this I mean, is this like a brand new motivational thing for you to go out there and just take care of business in one of these race cars? Yeah,
we honestly this has been a dream come true, and with my team and their team combined, we got a total of 7 people.
Nice.
To work on the car. We got a great tire guy. We got a great crew chief. We got a great car chief. I mean, it's really, everyone has a spot and they fit right and they know how to do their job. I've never been more excited to go racing.
I love it.
Well, that's got to be half the battle, is getting excited with the team. Now, I noticed that we got a picture of your car popping up as you're talking, and it looks like it's one of those new Ford bodies. Have you noticed a big change, like with the downforce package? Because when we watched that big ASA show from Pensacola, a lot of guys are still running that old school ABC body from 4 or 5 years ago. But I mean, do you have to change a lot?
The newer style body probably is okay on short tracks, and the old style body's probably better on like place like Pensacola or Loudon or Thompson. And we have that option with our other car when we go back home to run that at them other tracks. But to be honest with you, I still like the looks of the old school body.
Yep.
But it is what it is.
Yep, no doubt. So Trevor, I don't know if you caught that race that Bobby's talking about right there, the Pensacola race, but did you watch that?
I watched about 75 laps and I fell asleep. I heard there was quite I see some videos and some different stuff going on. I heard there was some carnage.
Yeah, well,
just a little.
That's what it is.
Tends to happen down south from time to time. But so your thoughts on the weekend? Obviously coming to Hickory. I mean, you guys locked and loaded. The motivation is right there. What do we look forward to for you guys coming into this race weekend?
I really think that we can easily run in the top 3 after testing down here, and that's our goal.
Mm-hmm.
Just to keep the fenders on it as usual, as anyone would want to do. But we want to get notes. We want to do well, but we also want to get notes and make our car better for the year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's the biggest part. Sorry, Bobby, go ahead.
So, Trevor, hey, explain the weekend for me. It looks like there's 2 races. There's one on Friday with the St. Patrick's Day race, and then there's the Easter Bunny on Saturday. Yep. You guys are running the Easter Bunny race, right?
Yes, we'll run, which are both days. We run a 150 Friday and Saturday.
Oh, okay.
And there's an open day, open test day, Thursday from like 3 to 6 in the afternoon.
Yeah. So Trevor, what all is on the agenda for you this year? I mean, what's a full racing calendar for you? I know that a lot of guys, it's spread out and doing different things. What all's on tap for you?
I don't really know yet. I know that we've got 25 to 28 races.
Wow.
Put in one of our notebooks. We haven't pinpointed every one of them, but we're going to run at least 25 races. I just don't know what, when, or where yet.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. That's a good amount of races. That's a good amount of races. And obviously, with what you're doing right now, when it involves travel, that always makes things complicated. So, good luck, man, at the historic Hickory Motor Speedway this weekend. We'll be following along, and I'm sure that everything's going to work out great for you and the Moody team.
Awesome. Thank you guys for having me on. Have a good night.
All right, man.
Take it easy.
Care.
Good luck.
You bet.
See you guys.
You got it. There he goes, on the road. I mean, the other day when we were talking on the Saturday show, when we had race cars in the background, I mean, right there, that I think is really the life of a short track racer. You could hear the road noise behind him.
Well, I was going to ask him about the weather because it's supposed to be nasty as hell up there. So hopefully he's the smart one. He's the smart one, got out a day early. So hopefully some of those other guys decided to get out a day early too.
Yeah, very good move right there to get out on the road. And it's funny right there to get ahead of it and try to escape all of the everything that's going to be going on right there. Trevor Sandburn, great conversation right there with him.
That car looks good too, though.
That's a beautiful race car. I mean, I really like that. That is very sharp. Look at that.
It's a great looking car.
Yeah. I think this is, if I'm not mistaken, I believe this is the 4th time that he and Richard Moody and the Moody team have gotten back together and are trying to do something right here. And that's where, I wish that we would see more of that, to where a lot of times when you have these great combinations, and when they grow apart, it's a bad thing. It's an ugly divorce, so to speak. But I mean, that's great right there that's happened with them. And there's still able to continue to come together and are sitting here to try to do something. And I mean, Trevor Sammer's going to wheel the hell out of this thing. So I think, and I like what he said right there, where you're essentially combining two teams. And I think that's when you do that, I mean, hell, how are you going to go wrong? I mean, you're combining two winning entities, and I think you're going to be in a very good spot.
Yeah, I think he's got the opportunity to have a really good season. I mean, I think that you could tell by the way when right now it sounds like they're trophy hunting more so than championship hunting.
Yeah.
When you always have a little bit more confidence in your program when you decide to be like, well, we're not going to do just one solid thing, right? I think he cut out a little bit where he said he was going to try to run south a few races just to try to come south to run some stuff. I mean, it's a hell of a long way from Maine. I mean, like he said, 14 hours, but you're seeing that more and more. These guys that have this super late model package that we're used to seeing in the South, that now that you've seen it, you're more exposed to it in the South with the Southern Super Series. Now you see it. Now we're more exposed to it with SRL on the East Coast or the West Coast.
Yeah.
Now these guys with these super late models up north that have a little bit more cost control, prohibitive methods.
Yeah.
They're with the series that gets their big car count. Those guys are like, well, hell, we want to play too.
Yeah, and that's why I really do hope that. I mean, I know that we have this. With the ASA Stars Tour and with SRL. I mean, I know that is going to be something. I mean, there's conflicts there. I mean, obviously our race with Gulf Coast, we've got the head-to-head thing, over at Crisp and all of that, and I mean, all that's going to do right there is divide the field. I mean, and that's pretty shitty. I mean, I'd like to say, I mean, we had that date, and I mean, I know things happen. It's all about track availability and all of that, but this is where I wish that this was a better relationship to where you could string this thing out just a little bit more. I mean, there's a lot of weekends in there, and when you start factoring in travel, and the whole thing is, I mean, I reached out to a very prominent, I ain't dropping names. I've been seriously today on the phone, because obviously right now, I mean, I'm trying to work on our race, the Davidson Electric 125. And I reached out to someone today that, like I said, I'll leave the name unknown, but I said, are you going to be able to make it? Whatever, love to have you out. And he's like, man, I'm going to try to have a car there, but there's a lot of logistics. It would have been easier, if there was just one race. And the whole thing is, I mean,
and it ain't exactly close to Watermelon Capital Speedway
right,
either.
And the whole here's the whole thing that kind of irritates me about this whole situation is I mean, let's just say, I mean, you got Mobile, and I'm taking myself out of the organization thing. Let's say you got Mobile and you got Watermelon. One of them gets rained out. You can't just skip to the other one.
No, you can't.
You can't.
I mean, it's got to be, 6 hours between the two of them at least?
I mean, there's no way. And what really happens in this situation is you make the racer, you make the team, you make them have to decide which way they want to go. And you challenge their loyalty. And somebody's going to get their feelings hurt, whether it's the ASA Stars Tour or whether it's Ricky and Larry and SRL and us. I mean, people are going to lose out, and I think the biggest thing is the race fan's going to lose out. And again, I am not. I want to be real transparent here. I'm not saying, like I said, we had the date initially. Racetrack availability is one thing, but there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better way to do that. But where I'm going with that is with the Pass Tour and the ACT. To me, that truly is when we talk, I know that we're trying to bring back ASA and All-Pro North versus South. To me, ACT and the Pass Tour, they are very north. I mean, that's the old ASA, quote unquote, with North versus South. We've got that, and then we've got all of these clambering for the South. But I get it. It's a byproduct of the South has been where we've had all of these races. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It does. In a roundabout way, it makes sense. But I think it's just the way there's only so many weekends to go around. We see that in local short track racing here. But in the grand reality of the thing, they just should have known better than to schedule a Southern Super Series race on top of an SRL race. It should have been that simple. I mean, and I'm not involved in Mobile Clearly, I'm not involved in SRL. I'm not involved in ASA Southern Super Series.
I think
in my opinion,
he works for ASA.
In my opinion, it just should have been smarter to know that there's only so many cars to go between the two series, and now you're basically just splitting the field.
Yeah, you had 31 in Pensacola, and that's great. I mean, that's the place to start the Stars Tour. I mean, I have no problem with that. But that really is the whole thing. And here's the other part of it where it gets a little complicated is because it's a loaded weekend. I mean, this weekend you've got the Rattler, and that's an SRL race. I mean, you got all of that, and then you got 1 week in between coming off of Pensacola is the Rattler, or I mean, not a lot of downtime there, but I mean that makes sense. I mean, it's not quite as bad.
5.5 hours.
Yeah, you'll have to do that. I can't see that. But
5.5 hours from Cordele to Pensacola to Mobile.
Then you give them a week in there, but you split them. And I mean, that sucks because especially when I do see 31, 34, whatever the hell it was, it's, I don't know. I mean, it's tragic and it's definitely not. I mean, I get it. It's business, and that's. I mean, we see that here in Texas with the dirt track thing because we do have tracks that are cooperating, and we can ask Owen about this. We do have tracks that are cooperating. That's the thing. Like with Owen and Marianne, they have a great relationship where they try not to schedule on top of each other, but when they do, it's not that big a deal because you've got the Gulf Coast. I mean, the Gulf Coast, the Texas Coast racers that are going to run either at Texana or at Corpus. By the way, Corpus guys, you need to be a little bit better and go race Texana. And then you've got Marianne. And Marianne don't need no help. Marianne's got her own thing over there. I mean,
but those drivers could travel. They could.
And I'm disappointed they didn't for Texana.
There's a lot of people that go and travel to Cotton Bowl, but there ain't a lot of traveling the opposite way.
Yeah.
One or two maybe, but the rest of them just like running their own. Which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Whatever. I mean,
that's great. But I mean, I don't know, when there's a chance to run for $5,000 and you'd rather run for $350 to win. I mean, I guess that's your program, not mine.
24 cars for the factory stocks. When I saw that purse for the makeup clash, I'm like, holy shit, we're going to be here all night because we're going to have 60 cars. We're going to have all these B mains, and we got 24. Everybody that showed up raced, which is great. I mean, if you show up, you should race.
I don't think anybody new showed up on Saturday though.
No, nobody did.
Nobody new showed up on Saturday. It was everybody that showed up on Thursday and Friday.
Yeah, the other night at the Waco, we had well over 29 factory stocks for a regular show. Waco's its own thing, whatever. But yeah. But I was saying that Marianne and Owen have a great relationship right there. But this is the whole thing with this super late model thing to where it's getting to, I've had folks that reach out to me and it's like, well, it's all about tires. I'm like, it don't make a shit what tire they run. You're going to buy 10 of them the whole weekend.
Doesn't matter. The cost is irrelevant and the manufacturer is irrelevant.
No.
Because they're all going to buy tires. If you show up to a racetrack, you're going to buy a set of practice tires.
This doesn't need to be a pissing match back and forth, and that's really what it's becoming. But the long story short of where this whole tangent started for us is that up north, they seem to have something together to where with the Pass Tour and the AACT that they figure out a way to where everybody can get along and they show up for each other's races. And here we are down in the South with our own little pissing match back and forth. And those people are still showing up down here. And I don't see a lot of South guys going up north. Bubba, I mean, that's it.
Bubba, that whole, when he started going all the way from side to side, north to south, that was more of an I'm a badass and I'm going to show you I'm a badass everywhere type of deal. And he did, and he went everywhere.
Did it quick.
And he went up there and he whooped their ass. He took the money in Canada. He took the money at the Oxford 250. He took the money at the Showdown in California. Took a lot of money home from the Southeast. So even ran up in the Midwest too. So I think that was a little different. It's one thing to just travel when you're on top of your game, going everywhere to kick ass, versus just traveling to go race a big race. Mm-hmm. That's what you saw this weekend in Pensacola with the ASA race.
Yep.
There were guys that were determined to race a 10-race championship from the Midwest that had no choice but to drive to Pensacola because they're committed to the ASA championship and the couple of races they have up there in the Midwest. Same thing with the guys down south. That was that was the way that they did that was genius because it was triple points. ASA National points, Southern Super Series, Blizzard Series, and then Southern Super Series points. Yeah. It was a genius way to do that. That's why they got 35 damn cars.
Yeah, and it the race goes on, and I mean then it turned out the way it was, and Michael Bowles here in just a minute, but I mean let's touch on that. I mean that race right there. I mean it happens. You had a lot of comers and goers. Casey Roderick wins that. I reached out about maybe having a conversation. He was that ended in a way that he's probably not ready to talk at this point, and I totally get that and appreciate that. Same thing with Bubba. That was a thing right there. With all of the, I saw that somebody wrote something. I don't know if it was Racing America. Oh no, it was Matt Weaver is who it was that wrote something today with all of the promise and everything that was going into that race at Pensacola. To me, Bob Sargent and those guys, they have more questions coming out of that on how they're going to handle the rest of the year, because that really did. I mean that turned into I'm not going to say SS, but that turned into a mess right there. I mean that got to where, and the whole thing with Bubba and Casey, I wasn't in either car, but I mean to me that's one of those things that happens on a ground up racetrack. You get out there, stuff's going to happen. I saw what happened in the tech shed,
and you knew that was coming.
Of course. I mean you don't let Bubba go relax for a little bit. I mean, the best thing would have been for Bubba to leave, and he'd have been okay. But, Bubba leaves and goes and thinks about it, and that's and I don't blame him. But at the same time, I can appreciate that I saw Casey Roderick in Victory Lane. Did you see that?
Mm-hmm, I watched it.
I mean, that dude was beat up. I mean, and I don't think he was acting. I don't think he was acting. He felt like shit for what happened. And it's racing. It's racing.
But he's not on the pre-entry list for the Rattler.
No. And I fully think that with him, with Casey, being in that Campy car, I mean, if I'm Campy, I'm going to keep him in that car and I'm going to go chase that money. And again, that's where we go back to the ASA or Stars SRL divide, whatever the case is going to be, and making people pick. I mean, people are going to pick the money. I'll tell you what I'm going to be curious to see, and I hope that I'm going to be privy to know it, before a lot of people. I want to see where Bubba races on April 1st. I damn sure hope it's at our racetrack.
I got a feeling I know where he's going to go.
I got a feeling I know too, and this Saturday may have solidified it. But I don't know. I don't know. We'll have to watch that. But that's a big old mess. That's a big old mess. It's unfortunate. I mean, I just wish it was easier. But I guess it's a good problem to have when you have that much money floating around and that many great teams and two great series, I guess.
Yeah, I'm interested to see Majeski in that Toby car. With as bad as they were running and then getting a couple of lucky dogs to finish third, they worked something out in that car, and he's lights out there at South Alabama. So that's Majeski's going to be a good one.
Yeah, that's a brand new race car there for him, and to overcome everything that he did. And I do want to talk about, I mean, seriously, for Pollard, I mean, the drive that he put on Saturday night, I mean, that's one thing for young upcoming drivers that want to see what resilience and passion and all that is. Put that damn thing on replay. I mean, to see what he did right there. If there was any question, and he didn't win the race, Bubba Pollard did not win the race. And yes, I'm a Bubba Pollard fan. I'm going to pump him up. I'm a Casey Roderick fan. I'm going to pump him up. But to see what Bubba pulled off, I mean, if there was any question about Bubba Pollard being back or being, the energy and the intensity, I hope you watch that race at Pensacola, because it's all right there. That dude was wheels up the whole time.
Well, we saw
3 laps back, for crying out loud.
3 laps back. We saw that the rebound that he's able to do with the ASA tour, and then we saw with that. What were they running? I guess it was Cordeal at the beginning of the year when he was able to hold off on the outside lane.
Yep.
With 75 lap old tires, and somehow, some way, still managed to win that race.
Yeah.
That was I don't say a shocker. That was very surprising that he was able to hold off that And there was a lot of good stories with the ASA race.
Yeah.
I mean, Matt Craig went out and lights out, smoked their ass for the first third of that race.
Yeah, he did. And Jeremy Doss, I mean, when we talk about the guys from from the West Coast and all that, Jeremy Doss comes out and he put on a fantastic show. And I mean, I thought right there at one point that Doss might win that race. Cole Butcher, I mean, I love that Cole Butcher's out there in the middle of all this, and it really is. It's a stacked field, and this is where, and again, you get to the split. I mean, is there going to be a split? I don't know. That's where, guys are uncommitted. I mean, many are, but it's a lot's going to shake out here in the next couple of weeks. I think we have a really good idea in the next couple of weeks who's going to be doing what in those pavement super late.
I think a lot of it's all about the money, but I think some people are going to look at the points and be like, well, we're close here, we're not close here, so we're going to go here versus there. And the money's one thing, but the points is something else. So but that's always a challenge. So everywhere when you do a touring series race and there's money all the way around. Same thing with the factory stock guys.
Yep.
Do they chase the money? Do they stay at home? Do they chase the money? Where are they going to go?
Great segue, because we're going back to the Lone Star Speed Zone hotline, and this is the guy that was the winner in the factory stocks on the Lone Star Stock Car Tour this past week. Kennedale Speedway over to Devil's Bowl, and then hitting the world-famous Heart of Texas Speedway. This man that came out on the top in those factory stocks, it is our man Michael Bowles. How we doing, sir?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing well, sir. Doing well. Let's talk about that stock car tour. We're over here kind of talking about traveling racing or whatever. But I mean the stock car right there, it kind of zigs across Texas. Your thoughts on just the whole concept in general with that Lone Star Stock Car Tour?
We enjoyed doing it. That's the first time I got to do something like that. So. It's a neat deal for us.
No doubt.
We didn't really expect to do as good as we did.
But it's always good when you exceed the expectations right out of the box. So talk about the tour itself on the factory stock side. When you have to race those different tracks, I guess it went to Kennedale first and then over to Double and then back to Hot. But I think that those are three completely different tracks. How did you prepare for that mentally, and then with the car itself? How did you bring a bunch of extra shocks and springs and stuff to change that underneath there for those three different tracks?
Kennedale, we race there some throughout the year, so it's not too bad. Devil's Bowl, I've never raced there.
Wow.
So that was pretty rough on us, which we did okay and made it through that. And then Heart of Texas, we raced there quite a bit, so that helped out. Yeah. We were able to pick up one win there. So
yep, did indeed get the win right there at Heart of Texas. So let's talk about the quality of opponent there in this. I mean, you get the best of the best that show up for this. I mean, they want to race at those tracks. They want to chase that money. You get out there, win the championship, but man, you beat some of the best in these factory stocks.
Man, it's always every time you get in one of these factory stock races, it's tough. I mean, you always got 10 to 12 guys that could win it any night, and it comes down to the cars are so close. I mean, you just got to drive them. So other than that, there's always good competitors.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, Michael, we always have this conversation with the guys that run factory stocks versus the guys that run the stock cars. A lot of guys, they're somewhat similar, in cost. And when you think about that, the biggest prohibitor is generally when guys talk about the tires running the pull-offs versus running the Hoosiers for the stock cars. In terms of what you were able to see between the factory stocks and then running with the stock cars, is the gap as big as it may seem? Because some of these factory stocks, they're not cheap. And, it's one thing to race on a $65 Hoosier tire versus a $35 pull-off, but damn, I mean, sometimes them factory stock guys like to tear stuff up, but I guess the stock car guys did too for a little bit.
Yeah, definitely the pull-offs are way cheaper. Me, myself, I've always wanted a stock car, and, I haven't done it. I've raced everything but a stock car. The factory stock class, I was out of racing for a little while. When I came back, the factory stock seemed to be where the most competition was. Now I see the stock car growing, and that's pretty interesting to me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and let's talk about that, Michael, because I do want to touch on the stock cars, on the iStocks, or whatever we want to call them. I mean, that to me, having grown up, as a pavement guy for most of my life, and now over to dirt, man, the stock cars, the beauty of that IMCA sanction, being able to travel all around, that looks like a pretty sweet little class to be a part of.
Yes, I've been thinking about making a change over to the stock cars. Whenever like I said, when I started back to racing, I took about 8 years off, and when I came back to racing, it seemed like the most competition was in the factory stock. The stock car numbers weren't as good, but now it's really grown.
Yeah.
And I like seeing that too.
Yeah, Michael, I do want to ask you right there, Bulls, what you just said. After taking time off, 8 years, a lot happens in 8 years in racing. So when you came back, were you like, what in the hell is going on here? Because things change so damn quick in this sport.
I actually was, but I had some. I still knew a lot of people in it, and some of the things they were telling me, I had no clue which way to go, and so I just kind of jumped out there, and we went back to doing pretty decent most nights. We, my goal is to finish in top 5, and that's a satisfying night, for me.
No doubt.
So talk about the tour. We kind of been talking about it a little bit, but talk about each race night. The challenge was, obviously Mother Nature won a couple of nights, or was definitely challenging a couple of nights there at Devil's Bowl and some other places. But what did you have to prepare extra for the tour compared to a normal race? Was the mindset different for you? Talk about what went into the actual preparation for the tour.
It really wasn't that bad. I live in Italy, Texas, so I was pretty centralized for all the tracks. So I was fortunate for that. So it wasn't too bad. The worst part for me was, of course, Devil's Bowl. That was a new deal, and that was pretty. Anyways, every idea was pretty much wrong at first.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I finally figured it out, and pulled off a 3rd place finish there, so that helped.
Yeah. So how do you attack this thing, Michael? What was it a thing for you to where it's like, okay, I'm going to start at Kennedale, and if we are in a position to be able to win a championship, we'll continue, or did you plan to go ahead and make each and every race along the way?
I planned on making all the races, and like I said, it's something I've always wanted to try, a touring deal, and so I had in my mind I was going to make all the races.
Awesome.
So obviously this little championship deal kick off the beginning of the 2023 season, sets the world on fire for you. What's on tap for the rest of 2023? You going to search for some more championships? You going to go trophy hunting? What's all on the game plan for you this year?
I think this year we're just going to race at different tracks. Like I said, we've I don't know, just try to get wins. That's probably what I'm going after this year.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. With the factories, you're able to do that. That's the beauty of that class. And like I said, with the ice stock. So I do want to ask you before we cut you loose, man. So your thoughts on the factories. As we talked about, it is very competitive, just like the IMCA stock cars. But where is this thing going? Yeah, we get the whole tire conversation and all of this. Is this factory thing, we ask all the factory guys is this thing going to bottom out at some point, or just continue to keep kicking ass throughout the state of Texas?
Man, I really don't have that answer, but I know right now it's pretty stout everywhere. And like I said, I enjoy doing it. I wish I had a stock car, but now I've shoot, I got 3 factory stocks now.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I won one on that tour.
I love it.
So, Michael, here's a question for you, just theoretically, right? Because I know it's a long way from Italy down to Edna. If I tell you that it's a $5,000 to win race, and there's, what was the pay, $100 to start?
Yep.
I think it was $100 to start, and only 24 factory stocks showed up, and nobody extra came on a Saturday. As somebody with a couple of factory stocks, does that surprise you as somebody that just ran a tour with a bunch of factory stocks?
Yeah, I think it does surprise me. But you got, sometimes I think it's who advertises they're going different places.
Yep.
May sometimes hurts the track. As far as that, I like to go where the best guys are, but I've been trying to get to Louisiana, and, I went a couple times and didn't do good at either time, but it's a different ball game over there too.
Mm-hmm. Man, that is a great point. Hadn't thought about that.
Yeah.
And there were some big hitters there. Had not thought about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yep. Good stuff, Michael. Congratulations on that championship there on the stock car tour. It was a joy to call that race that you were in on Friday night. That was some damn good racing out there that you guys put on.
Man, I appreciate it. Yeah.
Yep.
We'll probably be back there this Friday.
Love it. That's good. That's a great place to race. Talk about that. Waco, man. That Friday night show, stands are always packed. You got a lot of locals there that's their racetrack. Got to be fun to swing in there and race against some of those Waco favorites.
Man, I've had good luck there.
Yeah, you have.
I really like the place. When you roll through the gate, the atmosphere is good, and it's just a nice place to race.
Yep.
So
sure.
Track's always pretty good.
Yep. No doubt about it. Great job, my man. Thank you for taking the time. Congratulations, and we look forward to seeing you on down the road, my brother.
Okay. Well, I appreciate it too.
You bet. Take care.
Yes.
You bet. There he goes, Michael Bowles, as he wins the Lone Star Stock Car Tour in the factory stocks, and that the whole thing with the Stock Car Tour there. Obviously, the emphasis on the IMCA stock cars and all of that. Cody Smith wins that along with the IMCA Southern Sport Mods, but it's just good racing is what that is. And again, if you're a tried and true race fan, to see the two, and you know what is weird to me, because I know, Bobby, we've talked about this a lot on the asphalt side, to where it's people talk about some of the confusion with the Outlaws and the Super Stocks and the whatevers on the pavement, but there is no confusion for the dirt track fans when it comes to IMCA stock cars and factory stocks. They know what is what. Well,
they do. They look similar, but yet they look different.
They do.
I like the new Gremlin style bodies that William Gould and Egbert have. Kind of changing up the look of the stock cars just a little bit. It goes back to my pink radiator cap. If somebody does something a little different, it's not necessarily outside the rule book. But you're going to start seeing more and more of those little, they're not hatchbacks, but they look kind of like.
They're called buttless cutlass.
Cutlass.
That's what I call them. Yeah, the buttless cutlass.
Yeah, so those cars are fast for a reason. But there was a little bit of carnage there, especially there at Heart of Texas that one night before it rained with Willie Gould and with somebody else just got together, and it was just carnage right in front of the flag stand. Our buddy Joe, you could hear Joe and his partner over there went, woo, oh, kind of like we do when you see a pretty bad wreck right in front of you. So speaking of our man Joe Spillman did a pretty good job there with the stock car tour.
I tell you, Joe
never retires.
Joe works his ass off, and Joe was race director on Friday night over there. But I got to tell you, I do want to give some love to my man right there, Backhoe Joe, because the whole thing was, I do want to take credit for the fact that when Marianne asked me, when it came to the point where I wasn't going to be able to go to Cotton Bowl and you were tied up, she's like, I got to find somebody. And I said, I think Joe Spillman would be amazing. Mm-hmm. And, to get to work with Joe, when he first started doing this. But, Joe seriously is a badass. Joe does this really well. Mm-hmm. I got to tell you, it's something. But Joe, and here's part of it. The whole thing with Joe Spillman, we know Joe as Backhoe Joe, whatever. Joe operates a hugely successful business. And Joe speaks well. And you can only correlate if you put Joe's passion into the passion that Joe has for racing. You let him talk about that, and you kind of walk him through and kind of teach him, some of the ropes. I do get excited when I listen to Joe, because every now and then I hear him say something, and I'm like, hey, that's my line. But he does it, and he does a really good job. He does a damn good job at what he does. And hell, he's doing big shows.
I know. He's doing tours. He's doing big shows.
Yeah,
he's doing a lot. He's doing a lot better than I am.
he's doing a really good job, and I mean, to watch him blossom into that spot, and I do want to give a shout out to my man Brandon Stone that was with me on Friday night. I mean, Bobby, people just don't get it. This is not an easy job. It's
a thankless job too, really. To a certain extent.
Well, that's for sure. But especially when you screw up. But it because when you do, you get hammered, and that's happened to all of us.
Yeah.
But Brandon, they send this guy up, and he comes up, with me, and no pressure. The Jack Bagby Memorial, 29 factory stocks, 26 IMCA stock. I mean, this was a huge night. It was a huge night, and it was really cool for me, because it was one of those things to where I just saw it with him, to where it he was kind of working himself into this, and then boom, the light went off. And I mean, the kid has the passion, and he has the love to do this, and all of you guys in Waco, when that dude is out there, y'all need to support him, because he has the love and he has the want to do this job, and no pressure. Waco is
but they have a passionate fan base.
Waco is intimidating. I can tell you that. It took me a long time to win some people over in Waco, and hell, I still haven't won them all over. But that's a tough place. They will tell you when you make a mistake.
Yeah.
To your face.
Exactly.
On air, they will tell you. They will tell you. They will tell you what to say. I love those people for some reason. They're great. That is the one place that I got complained on in the last couple of years for profanity during the demo derby, of all places.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Waco, they complained on.
High class act over there.
But you know me, Bobby. I found out who it was. I called them up and tried to, make it better. And it's still not better, but that's okay. That's
it usually doesn't make it better.
It's still not.
Then they got your phone number, and then they're like, really call you an asshole.
It's like during the race. It's like, you said that wrong. Oh, hell, come on. Hey, before we get to Owen Pittman, Rogers Dabbs Chevrolet, GM Performance Parts, those crate motors that you're chasing after, whether it be in the late model series, whatever it is, the best price that you're going to find is Rogers Dabbs Chevrolet, Brandon, Mississippi. Hit up that parts department, 800-489-2090. They will take care of the crate motors or the parts, whatever it is that you're looking for whatever you may be doing. We like to say they got the best numbers on those crate engines in the business right now. 602 is going to run you about $54.97. That much sought after 604 that you can run in a dirt late model, $7,460. They sell those GM motors to support racing, and we like to help them on this show and at the Gulf Coast Racing Series with Gina, because they are putting that money back into the racing program. So very good stuff right there. GM Performance Parts, the best price that you're going to find on those motors. It is Rogers Dabbs Chevrolet in Brandon, Mississippi. They will take care of you. Tell them that you heard about them right here on the Revved Up Sports Show. Hit them up. They will take care of it for you. It is, and I gave you the wrong number, 800-489-2070, Rogers Dabbs Chevrolet. Getting ready to talk to Owen Pittman. We'll talk about a lot of things there with Owen, but before we do that, just a couple of dates that are coming up on April 1st. Obviously, lots happening on April 1st. It'll be the season debut of Cotton Bowl Speedway, and I think I really love the article that I saw on raceontexas.com about Kevin Natek. That's a guy that he won the first factory stock championship there at CBS, and now he's got him a badass race car with a good motor. And Natek to me is a guy that still does things the right way. He's just a racer's racer, man. There's never a bad night for a dude like him.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a unique. That's when the crate late models actually run April 1st.
Mm-hmm.
So lots of late models are going to be racing there. And then they actually kick off 2 weeks on the 25th. Same weekend as NASCAR at COTA, which I kind of question just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess, their theory is they have their own ecosystem at Cotton Bowl, so a lot of the outside factors don't affect it other than Mother Nature.
That's right. Then on the 18th, you have the 18th. That's this weekend. You've got I-37, I believe it is. Late models, $1,000 to win right there. So that's going to be a good show right there. And I think I-37 is on the path, them as well, to do some good things this year. So hopefully that's going to work out well for them. There's plenty here. There's plenty in the pie for everyone. It's a matter of the balance.
Yeah.
And 37 Ray and them, they're trying. And the whole thing is just support them. I mean, don't beat them up. You got a problem with them, call them. Don't do it here or somewhere else.
Yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing. We tell everybody, it's like a broken record. If you have a problem at a racetrack, contact the promoter directly. Don't go through Facebook. Don't go through Twitter. Don't go through your cousin's sister's mouthpiece on Facebook. Contact the promoter directly, and generally, most every time, they will make it right the best that they can.
Yeah, because promoters will respond, and as we say that, back to the Lone Star Speed Zone hotline, because I guarantee you one thing: if you have a problem with somebody, you have a problem with somebody at this guy's racetrack, and you call this guy, he's going to call you himself, because that's what he does. Stand-up man, best in the business right here, in my opinion. Let's talk to Owen Pittman. Owen, are you at the Chuck E. Cheese, my friend? I seriously hope I didn't interrupt that.
I am at the Chuck E. Cheese, but you interrupted. It just means I ain't got to go deal with the 5-year-old just quite yet. I'm sitting out in the truck, and he's in there probably pounding some of them little squirrels with a hammer or something. I don't know.
I tell this guy, I'm like, man, can you do 7:30? He's like, oh, yeah, I'll probably be at the Chuck E. Cheese. I'm like, man, I don't want to disturb you. He's like, no, please call. Please call. I've been there.
From a bunch of 5-year-olds to the two of us, I'm not sure which one he's going to win the bet on, though. I don't know.
That's crazy stuff. So, Owen, let's dive in. I mean, here you go. You're coming off of a weekend, and I tell you, I don't know how you do all of this that you do, but man, you put on a great show there in Houston. You dive into this thing. It's kind of thrown your way, and you take this thing and you done good, man. As I knew you would. Kind of wrap up the weekend for us out there at HMP.
It was a good weekend. Felt like the car counts were good. Obviously, we got some opportunity to grow around the bootleggers and the legends. Man, if y'all had a chance to watch that Legends race, those two cats put on a hell of a show, and the crowd was intense. They were screaming and hollering. I'm in the infield with a radio on my head, and I can still hear the crowd yelling for that Legends race. So that was pretty cool. But all the racing was good. A lot of heated stuff went on around the country this weekend, it seems, with racing. A lot of upset people, and we had our share there in the truck race. I was pretty proud that I think 4 of the 7 went green to checker, and then one of them had one caution. Then we had a few cautions in one, and then the truck race was
made up
challenging,
yeah,
to say the least. Yeah. So I did get a few calls. You talk about you got a problem, call your promoter. I did get 2 or 3 calls today from truck people with plenty to say, and all taken under advisement and agreed with, and yes, there needs to be some work done. There needs to be some things we just missed as a team, and we need to improve on. And then there's some that one black piece of cloth hanging off that pole up in the flag stand might need to be coming out a little more, just to shape it up and get these guys to not tear each other's stuff up, because we got a long season ahead. Mm-hmm. And it's 7 races, but it's expensive, and those trucks make some good points. It's hard to get out there and take that fiberglass off, beat it with a hammer, and make it straight and pretty again, and get it back on and go like you can with a piece of aluminum on a dirt car, mm-hmm. Or other cars. So, when you start tearing them trucks up, it gets expensive. They're pretty much all buying body parts. They're not, fabricating fiberglass and stuff. So I get it, right? I get it. So there's some work to be done there. And but all the classes, the crowd wasn't where we probably wanted it. So we really got deep into this about 11 days before the race, and tried to pull it all together and push it. And with the help of Mike Meekum and John Alverson, myself, we kind of pushed through to get it going, and hopefully it'll grow and continue to grow. I think it will. Man, the people were excited to be there, especially the racers. So overall, good weekend at HMP. A lot to look forward to, a lot to build on, and still a ton of work to do to get it where it needs to be.
Mm-hmm.
So, real quick before we touch on some other racetracks that you're close to, talk about that. A lot of people were still questioning the fan zone, not the fan zone, the meet and greet on the front straightaway. That is becoming a crucial part of Houston for as long as people can remember. That fact that the fans get to go down and they get to meet the drivers, find their new friends, find the cars, the stars, and that's how you build a fan base is by having a meet and greet and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's really hard to do at our dirt track because we're pumping through a lot of stuff.
That's right.
We have just as many classes at HMP as we do at a dirt track, but we don't run heat races at HMP for every class. And with the surface being asphalt, there's opportunity to run your practices, get your qualifying in, do all that earlier in the day. And it's a unique situation to where you're mainly running features by the time the meet and greet rolls around. Whereas on the dirt track, I would love to do the same thing because it's so cool. And it's such a good opportunity. You see the faces of the kids, the parents, everybody loves to go down there, talk to the drivers, see the cars. This is their up close and personal early in the night in case it runs a little long.
Right.
They get to go home without, and miss all that. So their opportunity to go down there and meet their favorite driver and talk is absolutely huge. And it's something that not every track can do. So with us having the opportunity to do it there, it really adds a feature to what we're doing that meets the crowd. And I can tell y'all the next race I'm stoked about. We're going to do something I've done at my tracks for years, Easter egg extravaganza.
Yep.
And we're going to throw out thousands of Easter eggs. And we do that meet and greet. We're just going to cut all them kids loose. And they're going to go down there and they're going to get crazy on some Easter eggs. And, man, it's always been a really good event. So I think it'll be an excellent event for HMP. And looking forward to that one. But, yeah, Bobby, 100%. That has become a stable. I think it's one of the neatest deals we do at any of the tracks is the opportunity for people to come out of the stands, get to visit, and it's clean. Mm-hmm. Once we get them down there,
yep.
We can announce it on the mic. They all move back up in real nice and easy. There's no huss or fuss. It's a simple process, and we do our redraws and stuff while that's all going on. So, we get a little stuff done still while that's happening. So it's pretty neat. I like it. And I believe that's a key to Houston right there.
Yeah. Oh, and I do want to ask you when it became apparent, towards the first part of the week last week that you were going to be in command of putting this show together. Everything that I read right there about, and again, you've been a part of asphalt racing, for a long time, but you've been on the dirt side here for a good amount of time. But when folks realized that you were, and you have been the one that's been putting this together, for crying out loud. But when that became more to the forefront that it was your show, you had to be pretty proud of all the folks that were like, this is great. I want to be a part of this. That had to be something that made you feel good and only helps the whole program.
Yeah, it's very humbling because a lot of these guys, even on the asphalt, they kind of know me from dirt and kept up with, hey, this guy does a good job, and he doesn't, he always pays the bills. He always takes care of the drivers, and I get a lot of that from these guys, and then that's kind of exciting from a promoter standpoint and humbling that they see what you're doing and they appreciate it, and they see that, man, you do it at these other tracks, and they get that feeling like, man, I wish they would do that at our track, and then you come in there to do it for them, and they get got a lot of praise today. One of the things that I really wanted to change that I saw was a struggle. And we were able to get it done working through Dean and John was, let me pay out that night, not send checks in the mail a week later, none of that kind of stuff, but let's get our drivers paid at the end of the night. And man, I got a lot of people really excited about that. And then, I believe Gina used to do that and they loved it then. And they were super stoked about it. And I got calls today with, man, how did you pull that off? And I said, man, we just asked. And I asked and I said, this is the right way to do business. We need to do this. And it was agreed upon and we went after it. So,
nice.
Those are the things like that we need to just continue to focus on. What needs to be tweaked to make this the best outcome for the drivers, the fans, the facility itself, and drive to, man, with it being the only track we got, guys, it can be huge. It really can. It can be something unbelievable and get to where we're running those big super late model races and big modified shows and things like that. There's definitely end goals and things in sight.
No doubt.
So before we get on to the other couple of tracks you got, let's talk about the Clash. We've talked about car count on here, not near where it should have been for that racetrack. And Rodney and I have had our opinions on it and different stuff about it that we're still both shocked about it.
Still bitching about it, Owen.
Despite the fact that the car count was a little low, the racing action at the Clash was pretty damn entertaining. Talk about now that you've had a couple of weeks to think about the aspect of the Clash, talk about the Clash at Texana.
Frustrating,
Yeah.
disappointing.
Yeah.
A few words that come to my mind right off the bat.
Yep.
It really was. So, and based on car count, based on, I go there to do that for Cord Beard to help and try to make money and try to put on successful racing events. That one was less than successful. For him and for me both, overly excited and totally stoked with the race surface, the quality of show from the drivers we had there, outstanding. I mean, the racing was phenomenal. I mean, the factory stock, race was killer. They all were.
Yeah.
Really good racing. So, if you can make the money, you don't need 100 cars to put on a damn good show.
I agree.
Right. So you need 15 good drivers to put on a damn good show, period. And that's what we had. We didn't come out on the money end, and that's a struggle, but we learned, and I don't know that we'll be doing any early March racing again at that level, to be honest with you. So we did learn that's probably a bad thing. So we got the Clash still on the schedule for later in November this year, just like we normally do. So we're going to move into that, and we're going to keep working towards building Edna to be the best it can be and where we know it should be. It was pretty tough weekend with some tracks opening that once they open and get them points going, people don't like to leave.
That's
so
right.
we got our work cut out for us on a couple of things. I got that Outlaw 34 race in Corpus in July, middle of the season, and honor of Greg Carlucci Sr. And I'm really pushing for that thing to be a 3,400 to win factory stock show. Nice. Is my goal, and be a big show. Now, can I pull the cars in the middle of the season with the points going on at other tracks is going to be the key for sure. So overall Clash, not disappointed in the drivers that did show up, not disappointed in the quality of show by any means. Very disappointed in the overall car counts. But, you live and learn. We keep working at it. We're not giving up. We're not going to throw in the towel. We're going to learn from it. We're going to keep improving on it and figure out, where's the best time to do the best we can on car count.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was the hard part, thinking about that. I mean, the start of the year, people were assuming that there was going to be, and something we were just talking to Michael Bowles about. It's like, when you get Faulkner and the Whitehead and all these guys that are showing up, it's like, okay, maybe that, kind of shies some people away, but that whatever. So, Owen, you told me something on the down low or text me something early this morning on the down low. Want to let you go ahead and address that regarding the race ranch. So kind of speak to that with what's happening there in Corpus.
Yeah, the race ranch, and me and two gentlemen are scheduled to be on a podcast tomorrow to release it all to everybody and talk about it publicly. It's not a secret by any means. Two racers actually purchased the race ranch from Troy Cottrell. So the track has been sold, which is a big deal. Everybody's been like, man, it's going to be sold and be apartments. They're going to turn it into apartments. And it's like, no, nobody's going to buy this and build apartments. You can find a lot better location to put an apartment complex in where this thing sits. But you know how it is once they get rumors started, and then it slows your whole progress. How hard you work to build up your car counts and build up what you do, and then you get all these rumors that slow all that down. Well, it needs to speed back up because two racers bought it with the intention of keeping it a racetrack.
Nice.
And super stoked to work with them. They got plans. The roof on the bar's got to be fixed. We got to fix this. That turn 1 and 2 walls got to be fixed. We're going to do this. So they got plans to put money into the facility, grow the facility, and leave me alone. So leave me alone means they are willing to accept the terms that I'm paying currently, which is a fair price. They're willing to let me run a racetrack and try to grow this racetrack and work on this racetrack and have a place to race here in Corpus without getting all involved and causing any kind of issues for the racing. They just want to help the facility and do some things. They got some great ideas. They're going to put some shops on the property, and that helps grow racing to me. Things they want to do is actually very good, very great ideas. Things that, some of us that had them ideas over the year, we just had the funding to accomplish them. Yeah. So these guys got some funding that they're willing to put into this thing and make it great. So we can squash the whole South Texas Race Ranch is going away anytime soon. We can start building and solidifying solid classes of race cars that are going to grow and get better and better, and really looking forward to it. Super excited, stoked about the whole deal, honestly.
Yeah.
And I can tell you they're mini mod racers. So I don't know if you know anything about a mini mod. You've seen them, Rodney, because you've been there.
Yeah.
Both the guys that bought it, they race those little 600cc mini mods. And one of the things they told me is, well, just because we're doing this don't mean we want a purse, because they don't race for a purse.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
They race for a trophy. They race for the love of racing, and they want to keep this place going because they love racing. I mean, love racing. One of them also sells giant sailboats. I mean, he sells sailboats all over the place.
Okay.
But
I got it.
He's in it for the love of. They're in it for the love of racing, and they're all in to keep doing things the way they're done. They love the way the show runs. They love the way things happen there, and they're more than happy to leave it alone and let me do my business. And that's great news to me. It helps me be able to manage the business and grow it and really focus on stuff. So there's some big plans to change some things in my life in the very near future that are going to allow me to really focus on racing and grow more. So I'm stoked, and everybody in Corpus, they ought to go, hey, man, we got a solid place to race for years to come. It's not going anywhere, guys.
And, Owen, isn't that so important to me? Because, I mean, I say that all the time. I mean, I know we're sitting here trying to save Houston, and we have all these different racetracks or whatever, but seriously, for me, Corpus is the place. I mean, I firmly believe that if we could have gotten CC Speedway back on track and everything, that would sustain. I mean, to me, Corpus Christi is so important in racing, and I mean, to hear that news right there, to me, that I mean, hell, I'm not even thinking about saving asphalt racing. To have a racetrack in Corpus Christi, to me, is the biggest damn thing out of this interview that is most important. I think that is massive.
Yeah, it's big. I agree, and I'm with you. I mean, I used to see so many cars travel out of Corpus on the asphalt.
Exactly.
You go look at the names, and they were coming out of here. The Rick Rapps, the Slick Yeomans of the world, and then Labonte. Hell, I mean, the names go on, and they were all awesome Corpus racers, and there wasn't nothing more I would have loved to have done, Rodney, than save Corpus DC Speedway. That's a killer, but. I told him the other night, we were all in the bar and we were watching Boot Hill race. I think that was a Checkers of Records. Honestly, they tore some stuff up in that one. But we were watching that one, and I don't know, some meme was on somebody's phone, said, "Give me $1 million and I'll show you how to tell you how to make $1 million on Facebook. If I had 1 million people give me $1." And I told them all, hey, if we can get $1 million people to give me $1, I'm going to build a badass asphalt track here, and we're going to kill it. Let's get that going. So. It's disappointing that we only got one in Houston, but let's make that one great and keep growing that one at the same time. So it was fun. I enjoy it. Looking forward to the next one already. I know, Rodney, you'll be there doing some announcing. We're gonna have birthday cake and shit, so it's gonna be exciting.
Yeah. I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna come work for you, buddy. The wife said it's okay. We can do something some other time. It's Easter weekend. She's like, things are expensive. It's expensive to go somewhere. You go over there. So that's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'll do. I'll come up to that. It's going to be fun. Owen, congratulations, man. Honestly, congratulations that the race ranch thing. I mean, to me, that's a big old deal, man. I'm so glad that all that's come together, and keep pounding, man. You are seriously the best. I mean, thanks for doing what you do.
Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate y'all. Hopefully, we'll get to talk to y'all with more news soon. For now, let's keep plugging and get these racetracks on track and help everybody we can. We got a lot of things in work with from Chris David and Race on Texas and KR, and man, the list goes on and on. So super stoked. Racing is moving in great directions. I'm really enjoying it, and it's exciting.
Yeah, go in there and punch that mouse right in the face. Tell him to.
Where I'm headed, buddy.
Tell him to be quiet. Have fun, man. Take care. Thanks.
Later.
You bet. There he goes, Owen Pittman. That seriously for me, he dropped that little nugget on me with the South Texas Race Ranch, and I was very concerned. I know I talked to him in December, and the first interested party did not want to keep it a racetrack initially, but went out there and was like, hey, this is not a bad thing. I just think that I love what he's talking about right there. I mean, if you go out and kind of sounds like California Speedway, they're gonna put some stuff on the property. I mean, but that's the thing, for so many people.
Hell, it worked for Houston for a long time.
Well, and I got to tell you, one of the things back in Kyle, people would say, hey, is the racetrack the one that's over there where the Hyundai dealership is? And it's like, yeah. So I think that's a good thing. And Corpus, I mean, that is, that really is. I mean, that's a place to be. That's a place to be. That is very good news because they're going to support and they're going to do really good things there moving forward. And it sounds like the racetrack's going to get even better.
Yeah, it does sound like it's going to get even better for the people down there. So it looks like now that everybody's had their chance to think about Houston. So I think that turned out to be a better show than what people had anticipated.
Well, I can tell you one thing. If Owen's going to be the one that is in charge of this thing, and this is bottom line, I was talking about being a fan of whoever. I'm an Owen Pittman fan. And I'm an Owen Pittman fan because he's going to be the one that's going to go out there. And I don't know who knows what about this past weekend, but I can tell you one damn thing. Owen is the one that put all of this together. And for him to be able to pull the show off and make all of that happen, and like he said right there, I think that is massive that he went out there and he paid the racers on race night. And that's the one thing that we struggle with in Mobile because the promoter before Gina, run off with the money. And that was the one thing that we had to struggle against. And that was the one thing that Bubba Pollard came and told me. Bubba Pollard came and told me on the night of SRL. He said, to me, the fact that you guys are sitting here paying the racers on the night of the thing, that's going to answer a lot of questions about the validity of what's going on here. And seriously, Owen in command is a great thing. No offense to anybody. No offense to John. No offense to anybody else. But I'm gonna tell you one thing: if you put stuff in his hands, the shit's legit. That's the bottom line. If Owen tells you something, you better bet your ass it's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm. Everywhere the track record backs it up.
Yeah, it does. I mean, and this is not. I mean, and I'm not just talking about the last couple of years on dirt. I'm talking about way the hell back. I mean,
back in the Romco days, man, when he was running CC Speedway.
I mean, this is something to where, and
Cams.
I think, yeah, and I think this is where asphalt fans should. Asphalt fans, if you want to worship somebody, worship Owen Pittman, because that's a guy where if he's committed to you. If he is committed to you, he's going to do everything that he can. Texana Raceway Park, the best damn example. He goes in there and Cord. And how about Cord? Cord to invest in Owen and invest in the facility and just say, Owen, do what you got to do. And Cord Beard, we see him a little bit more now.
A little bit.
Yeah, we see him now, and he's a little more active. But when you go talk to Cord Beard about this race program that's coming together, he's like, that's Owen's deal. And there's no doubt. And if that happens in Houston with Owen in command, you're in good hands, friends.
Now, if he could just get a factory stock race in Houston, that'd be good.
I'll be there April 8th. It's not happening that day, but, if anybody's going to do it, that would be the guy to do it. It's a very good thing. It's a very good thing. So super excited about that. Congratulations there to Owen. And thank you all for checking in there. I mean, so many comments right there. Yes, I do want to give a lot of love. My man, Magic Mike Knotts. I got a package in the mail the other day. I got a care package with this badass logo right here that Bobby got put together. Magic Mike Knotts putting all of those together and sending those to me here or over to the facility there where I reside. So really good stuff right there. Do want to give a big shout out as well to the Texas Dirt Truck Series as Mike Tracy and those guys checking in. Bobby, I did a very bad thing today.
Uh-oh. What'd you do, buy a race truck?
No. But I entered a raffle to win.
Oh.
I entered a raffle to win. 2 spots. 2 spots.
When are they running? Maybe I'll do it too.
What in the hell? No, we don't need nobody else entering. I need the less people to enter. What am I going to do if I win that damn thing?
I guess you either have to race it yourself or find somebody to race it.
No. Ain't nobody going to race it but me. I don't want to be a car owner. I want to be a racer if I'm going to do that. But I was thinking about that. I'm like, that could be pretty cool right there. I could do that. My man, Rusty Cobb, checking in, asking about what happened in the trucks. Well, they tore a bunch of shit up.
They did.
Is what they did. And it looked a lot like Pensacola. This thing went on. I mean, it started out pretty good, and guys get better. Come on. I mean, you don't want to be Houston racers. You don't want to be the Bowman Gray, do you? Or do you?
Maybe it was just opening night jitters.
No, it wasn't opening night jitters. People know better than that. I see some of this stuff, and I'm like, come on, you're not about to do what you're about to do, are you? I mean, I've been in that seat, and there's times where I've done things, and I'm like, why did I do that? Yeah, I know why I did that, but come on, and for the Houston thing, I mean, if you want to be racing more often, don't get out there and tear people's shit up for no reason. And there's no reason to run people over. I mean, be better. I mean, that's like the whole thing I was talking about there on the blog on RevvedUpSportsShow.com. I mean, there's no need for that. I mean, there was a day and time for that. I mean, if you want to do that in the bomber class, or I mean, even in Houston, I mean, if you want to tear shit up, do it in the eco stocks. I mean,
Yeah.
not that those aren't expensive, but that's the one that's more
Economically friendly.
conducive for that. But I mean, don't do that. Come on. And some of it is senseless. I mean, you know better. You people know better. Come on, don't do that. Sorry. I mean, I've driven. You have. I mean, you know better. You know better. There's no need for that, especially when you have 7 or 8, whatever he said, races. Don't go out there and tear people up on purpose. That's stupid.
Yeah, but there are some that continuously do the same thing. So.
And speaking of that, Owen mentioned that right there. Coming up this weekend, I think it is, at Boot Hill, you got the Checkers or Wreckers. I'm sorry.
That's a dumbass idea.
I'm all about entertainment. That is fucking stupid. I mean, these are the same folks that folks are going to sit here and watch this and be totally entertained and love that show. And these are the same people that would sit there and watch when Mike Helt or whoever it was in NASCAR that said, boys, have at it. What is that? What is that? What are we doing? Checkers or Wreckers?
An extra $1,000 if the leader don't make it.
Come on, man.
$5,000 to win, $6,000 if you're second.
You know what? They're going to show up. They're going to watch. And that's not what we should be doing. No. That is not what we should be doing. And you know, again, I totally get, I mean, you want to get cars in the pits. That would not put my car in the pits. But, hey, I get it. I mean, that's what we do these days, dude. That's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, great conversations tonight, and again, we still have people a lot of people that are talking about what a destruction derby we had at Pensacola, and we have races called Checkers or Wreckers.
Mm-hmm. That's strange, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't get it. That's why I like the Enduros. That's why I like the Lone Star 600. That's where you get out there and you just run, just get out there and race. Just drive. Just have fun.
Yeah, this was going to be a lot of fun this weekend. Checkers to Wreckers, we'll see how it shakes out, but I'm not anticipating that being a success.
Yeah. I see there the truck racers get paid right after the race. Bottom line, period, from Mike Tracy. Well, that's one more damn reason that I want to win that truck so I can collect the last place check.
Well, just try to stay positive.
Last place my ass. You know I'm going to win that.
Does it have leaf springs?
I don't know what it has. It's $10.
I know you like your leaf spring. I know you like your leaf spring cars. It's right. A metric chassis, so.
We'll figure it out. I'll learn how to drive a dwarf. It'll be fine. Great conversations this evening with Trevor Sandberg, Michael Bowles, and, of course, Owen Pittman. We are back next week. On Monday.
Monday, yeah, depending.
Oh, that's right. That may change.
Tuesday may change, too. I got to get with you about that, too. So.
Okay, we'll figure that out. My ass is going to the Rattler. Rattler 250. Check it out on Racing America. That's going to be a whole lot of fun. You guys be well. Take care of one another. Be nice. Don't hit somebody with a ping hammer because they piss you off on the racetrack.
Yeah, don't do that. That's not good. That's not a good look.
Don't do that. Don't do that. You're only hurting yourself and our sport. We're back next week. You guys be well. # Real Race Talk from Texas.